Hey Village, it's your girl Latonia Monroe Naylor with another Tea and Talk Tuesday with Latonia. I am your mission rich business consultant, your transformation strategist. And I want to remind you that your mission isn't just a dream, it's a movement. Every great success starts with a story. And today we're diving deep into how to turn purpose into impact and passion into profit. So grab your tea, your notebook, and your energy, and let's build a legacy together. Yes, let's build a legacy together. So today, my mug says, "So will I," from Psalms 148. And when I think about this, I love my mugs. As y'all know, I try to have a new mug every week. Just people gift them to me, and I appreciate them because when you're looking at your mug, you're talking to yourself as you're drinking your tea, your coffee, whatever it is that you prefer. Sometimes it's ice water in there. I don't know, but guess what? At the end of the day, you're affirming for yourself. And so when I think about that, so will I. I just get really stirred up about it, and I'm like, what? So will I do what? So will I focus. So will I be determined. So will I go through whatever challenges or adversity that comes my way with my focus on the end goal. Okay. What is it that I want to get out of it? What is it that I know that I was called to do so that I can accomplish that? Right. Regardless of what happens. And sometimes obstacles hit us. Sometimes things get in our way, try to distract us from where it is that we need to go. But at the end of the day, we are here to turn our purpose into impact and our passion into profit. Now, let me tell you this. When I talk about profit, I am not just talking about money, okay? Dinero, whatever you want to call it. What I'm talking about is our ability to have a return on our time, our treasure, and our talent. Now, that can be money, but there's other ways that you can profit. There's other ways that you can benefit from the things that you do. And so mission rich isn't just about uh, this notion of doing good just to do good. Like that is part of mission, being able to do good, do something for the greater good, for the greater benefit of whatever cause it is that you want to impact. But mission rich is about a balance. It's about being able to understand that you were called for a purpose and there's something great that you want to do. There's a legacy that you want to leave. At the same time, recognizing that you have an obligation to have an increase. You have an obligation to have an increase, a return on your time, your talent, your treasure. Okay. And so, with that being the case, and not really getting into that on today because this focus on today is actually let me tell you the story. Let me tell you the story. I got a story to tell. And so when I was thinking about what it was that I was going to talk about for this month, I was kind of going back and forth as to, where do we want to go? What do we want to establish, right? It's part of the conversation. And what I learned very quickly was that if we don't stay with the basics and build on that, then we're going to get lost, right? Last month, we were talking about the goal setting. We're talking about the very beginning of strategy and what needs to take place so that strategy can be effective. And this month, we're going to be talking about the why, the strong why, not just any why, not just because somebody asked you to do it because it's trending, because it sounds good, but what is the thing within you that compels you that even when you're tired, even when things aren't going your way, even when it feels like all kind of chaos is trying to erupt around you, you are still going to hone in on that thing because that's how important it is. That is what a strong why is. And so getting to that strong why and really capitalizing on it or monetizing it or profitizing it. I don't even know if profitize is really a word. I just made it up if it ain't. But is your activatable passion, right? What is the thing that you can activate, that can really drive you. And so, in order for me to tell you that, why it's important, I thought, let me tell you my story. Let me share my story with you because it's a good. I have a lot of stories to tell. uh, but when I think about the one that really hits home for where I am right now in my life, I'd have to go back to 15 years, 15 and a half years ago. And what transpired at that time in my life, if you were to have seen me, you probably would have thought that I was doing okay. But the reality was that I was struggling big time. I was struggling because I didn't know who I was. I didn't understand what my purpose was. I knew there was something in me that was brewing, but I really didn't understand how to hone in on what it was and kind of take it by the reins in a way of speaking so that it could take me into the place and the pathway that God was leading me or wanted me to go in. And so it really was something, and I'll just give a shout out real quick to my Mission Rich, Profit Powered, um, Mission Rich and Profit Powered book that I do talk about this a little bit more at length in the book, but I can absolutely give you a window into my strong why in this season of my life. And so I was literally sitting in my car and I was profusely shaking. I mean, profusely shaking. Um, I didn't understand what was happening to me. I didn't understand what was going on. All I knew was I was using my phone. It's not like these phones that we got now. These phones we got now, you can tell Siri to do whatever and all of that. But back then, we didn't have that. And so I was on the phone, and it was one of those phones when you had to press the keypad 2 or 3 times to be able to get to the letter that you were trying to get to. So I don't really understand how I was able to accomplish the task, but I was able to get a text through to my supervisor at the time and say, I won't be in today. I knew that there was no way in the world I was going to be able to function at work in the condition that I was in. I don't even know if I could have walked into the office, but somehow I drove and I went to church and I got in the church and I fell on the altar and I cried and I cried and I prayed and I cried and I prayed. And all I remember is glancing at the clock before I started praying. It was around 8:30. And by the time I finished, it was about 12:30. And I can remember it like it was yesterday that there was a voice that spoke to me and said, if you don't take care of your kids, who will? And it was like all of a sudden I got this strength and I got girded up and I stood up and I'm like, oh my God, I can't keep doing this. Um, Let me be very transparent because if I'm not transparent, I don't think that I can help you. Let me be completely transparent. A woman of faith, we're taught that we don't do medication. We're taught that we don't do therapy. We're taught all these things, right? This is 16 years ago. All these things are things that I'm believing that I have to, you know, fit everything into this faith walk, this spiritual journey of trying to do it in a spiritual way. And I didn't understand that utilizing the resources that God had, as in doctors, as in therapists, as in masseuse, and massage, I'm just saying. I didn't understand that those were things that I could utilize that would actually be helpful to me for the long term. I didn't get that. I was too young and too caught up in survival mode to really capitalize on that piece, right? And be able to focus or even understand that. And so I said that to say I realized very quickly that I had to deal with things a little differently because if I wanted a different result, I couldn't keep doing it the way that I was doing it. And so I went on medication. I'm not proud to say that. It's reality. It's also a reality that a significant number, and I can't remember what the exact percentage was the last time I researched it, of people, even of people of faith, are using anxiety medications and all of that other kind of stuff. And it's because of what happened to me. right? Because of the burden of feeling like you have to do all of these things that you cannot physically do because it's not designed for you to do it that way. But again, I did not understand that. So I was burning out. They tell me medically I was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. They said I was literally, if I would have pushed myself any further, I would have had a complete breakdown. But it was caught right in time that they were able to kind of draw me back. It took me almost 2 years to be, um, I don't want to say return to the state that I was before it happened, because I was in a better place within the by the time that 2 years happened. But what occurred though is that it was a time of healing for me. So I literally went on a sabbatical. I stopped doing a lot of the extra stuff that I was doing. I would say 95% to 98% of what I was doing, I stopped. It was all about my kids. It was all about my husband. It was all, I had to go to work. And of course, my faith, I had to, make sure I was continuing to replenish that. But as far as leading or being in the community, all that, I had to stop everything. And it was hard for me to do that, but I had to do that. I had to do that. And so after everything transpired and I went through the sabbatical and I found my footing again, and I regained like this sense of hope and gratitude for life, because let me tell you, when you push yourself to that extent, there's a point that you actually are just not happy. You go through depression, you go through all these things that again are not within your control, but these emotions and these hormones, all these things that are happening, and you don't understand it. And so I was in prayer constantly because I really didn't understand what was happening to me. But as I continued to feel better and be able to manage, I was able to focus in on what do I need to do in order, like, why did this happen? How can I prevent this from happening again? And what does this mean for me? And what I understood after that, asking that question several times to God in my prayers, was that there was something that I needed to do. And it couldn't stop with that incident, but it was the incident that was going to transform how it was that I was going to approach life from that point. And so when I was gathering myself and everything, I'm in my new job. I had just finished with my master's program and all of that. And I got pulled into this program, and the guy who was co-leading the program wanted to do a focus group, and he wanted me to be a part of it. He was doing this big research paper, which I need to probably check and see what he said about me. He probably didn't use my name, um, but he was an atheist, and he said to me, as I was journaling and everything like that, this is why I always tell y'all to write stuff down, because this was one of the things that really broke through for me. And he said, Latonia, I don't believe in God, but since you do, I'm going to challenge you to pray to your God and ask him to help you to understand how you need to navigate. Because if you continue the way that you've done it, you are not going to be okay. You are not going to last. And so I did. I took him up on his challenge. I didn't realize he was being cynical, but I took it very seriously. And what I did is I prayed. And when I prayed, I opened up my Bible at the end of the prayer, and the scripture came to me, let your yea be yea, your nay be nay. And it was like, bam, girl, you can say no. It was like this freeing. Now, mind you, I had gone through all this physical stuff for the last year and a half to 2 years. And it took all of that breaking down to get that word that was able to start the foundation of building for the next phase. Why am I telling you that? Because when I talk about my strong why, this is a very important part of that foundation of it. Because what I learned in those moments was that there's a very intentional way that we have to move and that we have to do things as we pursue the goals in life that we are looking to accomplish because of the impact that we want to make. Now, I often tell people, if you are a person that just wants to make money and make it fast and could care less about who you offend in the process, I am not the one for you to help you or coach you or support you along the process, because I don't move like that. Money is not my motivator. Yes, I need money to live and I need money to take care of my family or contribute to the bills or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's not my motivator. My motivator is that I want to create lasting impact, because that's what I believe that I was put on this earth to do. And so through that experience, I learned that with the little bit that I was managing, which felt like a lot to me at the time, because I was mismanaging my time, my talent, my energies, I was pulled in 15 different directions. I was doing things for the wrong reason. Okay, this is where I want to get to. This is what the point of the story is. Your strong why cannot be because people told you to do it, because people asked you to do it, because it's trending, because it looks good, because it feels good, because it sounds good. Your strong why has to be the thing that only you can do in this moment, in this space. And if you don't do it, it's not going to get done. And it has to catapult you. It has to make you move forward. It has to propel you. It has to. That's the nature of the strong why. That's why it's there. And so if you're in a position where you're not engaged, where you're not practicing, utilizing the tools that were designed to help you deal with your trauma, your pain, your hurt, your struggles, your challenges, and change that into something that is usable, that is helpful, that is manageable, that is something you could capitalize and monetize, then you're not doing it right. You're not doing it right, because you're probably not doing what you're supposed to. So let me give you a deeper window into this. When you are doing things because you want to please people, and a lot of times you don't realize that's why you're doing it. Most people don't get up and say, I want to please people, that's why I'm doing that. Most people do not do that. But the reality is that most people are doing that because of whatever reason. So when we sit down and we're quiet enough to start unpacking what is the reason why we are doing things, then we're able to start recognizing, okay, I am aimlessly walking through life. I am aimlessly doing things. And this is why I'm not accomplishing my goals. This is why I'm not happy. This is why I'm feeling stretched. This is why I'm overextended. This is why I feel like I'm giving and giving and giving and nobody is giving back to me. Because sometimes you feel that way because you're burned out, because you're tired, because you're overwhelmed. But the reality is because you're not doing it for the right reasons. And so I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you to tell your story. And even if you don't tell your story on social media, even if you don't tell your story on a platform, on a microphone, I'm challenging you to tell yourself your story, to unpack what is the why that you are doing what you are doing. Because at the end of the day, if you are not doing it for the right reasons, it is going to show up. It is going to show up in your health. It is going to show up in your diet. It is going to show up in your relationships. It is going to show up. And you cannot allow it to show up in a way that is not going to benefit you or your loved ones or whatever is important to you or valuable to you. Okay? So with that, I'm getting ready to sign off. I'm getting close to my time. But I wanted to tell you the story. I wanted to tell you my story because I know that regardless of where we end up, it doesn't have to be our destiny. It doesn't have to be. That thing that happened to you, that thing that you encountered, that thing that you thought was going to take you out, doesn't have to. It can be the stepping stool that you need to get to your next level. So, y'all have a great rest of your day. Thank you for joining me. And I want you to remember that your mission isn't just a dream, it's a movement. Every great success starts with a story, and yours is valuable. Share it just like I've shared mine. If you want to continue to work with me, talk to me, be a part of my community, join us, direct message me, hit us up on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And if you are interested, here's the book. Yeah, Mission Rich Powerful Power. Purchase the book, y'all. Go get the book. Go to the website if you want a signed copy. Go to Amazon or wherever you like to purchase books and purchase your ebook version or your hard copy. And I will be so gracious to be able to share the story upon stories about the mission rich journey and why you all deserve to benefit. And so with that, y'all have a good one. God bless.